until we come to maturity, to the measure of the full stature of Christ. What do you want to be when you grow up? The classic question that we annoyingly ask kids over and over and over again. If my kid is any guide, kids actually start telling you this unasked at a certain point. I have heard doctor, veterinarian, teacher, and water systems analyst, among others. My kid's weird. She's really into water systems. This isn't in my script. She wants to go down the toilet so she can figure out how the water system works. What do you want to be when you grow up? I hear people all the time ask this rhetorically of themselves. I heard 3 people just this past week ask it in various formats. One of them was 25. One of them was 49. One of them was 62. I am supposed to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. I can't seem to decide what I want to be when I grow up. You know, if I ever figure out what I want to be when I grow up, ha, ha, ha. In this day and age, the joke is, it takes a long time to figure it out. You might never figure it out. Ha. Stressful. Let us grow up in every way, the text says. The text. The words, okay, that are in the Bible. Preachers like me roll our eyes when it comes to Ephesians, because we agree with the scholars that say that the Apostle Paul probably didn't write this stuff because the letters that the scholars agree the Apostle Paul wrote have a consistent format and sentence structure and word choice and a bunch of other boring grammatical things, okay. And also, the real Paul ones do not say stuff that Ephesians and Colossians say over and over, like, wives, obey your husbands. Children, obey your parents. Slaves, obey your masters. There's too much traditional order benefiting those traditionally in power language like that for me. Or for Paul, who wrote approvingly of all the women who were leaders and speakers in the church and said that in Christ the categories of male and female were irrelevant. Or for Jesus, who, had disciples who were men and disciples who were women, and had his entire ministry paid for by women, and was directly corrected and taught by a woman, and upon rising from the dead appeared first to women, Jesus, but whatever. So I tend to roll my eyes even harder when the text yells at us like it does today to stop being children and clean up your room already and grow up in every way into the full stature of Christ. Okay, fine, it doesn't say to clean up your room. But generally, I know where the culture and the cultural Christians go when they start talking about growing up spiritually into Christ. The full stature of Christ that a lot of people preach looks like this. And this. And this. Pissed off and powerful. That's the Jesus a lot of people know and love and want to talk about. Because then all the children would be forced to grow up. Grow up or angry Jesus will make you grow up. Then the ones who were wrong will get what is coming to them, right? Then all that is evil and rotten and corrupted will be destroyed, right? Just you wait till angry Jesus gets home. But even in Ephesians, even in the midst of all the traditional order language and traditional order thinking that is hard to escape, we know that it is. It says this: I beg you to lead a life worthy of this calling, with all humility, all gentleness, all patience, bearing with one another in love, making every effort. And then after a whole bunch of flowery language about grace and gifts and oneness and growing, it says, from Christ, the whole body, which is the community of believers, promotes its own growth, its own building up in love. The history and the words and the emphases and the boring stuff, bury it deep sometimes. Cover it over, but it comes out again and again and again. What do you want to be when you grow up? What are you supposed to be when you grow up? A person who loves. A person who participates in a community of love. A person who uses their gifts and recognizes that the grace of God calls them to love. Growing up. Being a grown-up. The message returns over and over from the traditionals and the radicals, and through every turn of phrase and every story that's told, the point of it is love. It's useless if you don't love. Love already. Be loving. Be a part of the people who love. What do we want to be when we grow up? We want to be like Jesus. We want to love and love and love.